Welcome to Take It from the Iron Woman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Iron Woman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Iron Woman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Iron Woman. Welcome again. We have only special guests here. Naihomy is with us today. Bagels and Brussels. We want to hear from her. Introduce yourself, Naihomy. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Hi. Thank you so much for having me, Susan. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Naihomy Jerez. I am a Bronx-based entrepreneur who launched Bagels in Brussels. And Bagels in Brussels is a wellness and guidance company to help women start on their lifelong journey of health and wellness. I am also a mother of 2 young boys.
A busy life, it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
And we need you now more than ever. We know in difficult times, what I've seen is that people are going back to bad habits. They buy junk food, eat junk food. It's comfort food. I'm wondering, how did that all start? And
food is very emotional. It's a comfort, and usually when you're growing up, they give you food when you're sad, or they congratulate you with food. So it's very ingrained in us, food connected with emotion. And now with, a viral pandemic, a racial pandemic, it's very stressful. People are at home. They're not buying from places where they would usually buy from. You basically have your kitchen at home. And I feel like, especially with the start of the virus, everybody was just grabbing anything that they could in the supermarkets. A lot of it was food that can stay in shelves for a very long time, because no one knew what was going to happen. If the food was going to disappear, we were able to go out and get more food. And I fell victim to this myself. Like, I bought a ton of granola bars and cookies and things like that, especially to give my kids some sort of treat. And then I said, what am I doing? This is not the right way to go. But yeah, I feel like everybody would purchase these things and buy these things to comfort themselves, and also out of being scared of not knowing if they can get fresh food. And mostly everything that you can buy with an extended shelf life, aside from like canned vegetables, is really processed foods, So it's a really big problem.
Yeah. But how did the Bagels and Brussels come about? So now people ask me, when is a good time to start your own business? And I'm always saying there is never a good time. There is never a bad time. So probably now is the time.
Yeah, right now. Actually, I started Bagels in Brussels 2 years ago. It was something that came about because through my job, I had access, lucky enough to have access a health and wellness coach. And after I had my second child, I wanted to lose weight. I wanted to be healthier. I had started going to a gym, but there was a program about food, and I've always loved that. And I felt like, I didn't really take it too seriously. I just wanted to join to learn something new. And then it ended up being life-changing for me. I just did not realize the impact that food had on you and your body, and how it affects your mood and fatigue and just a whole host of things. And I saw that there was this really big gap in how our community eats food and all these diseases that are going on. So I said, I want to be able to share this information and share this news and support the community in this way, because health is your number one thing. Like, you can always find another job, you can always do something else, but if you're not healthy, there's nothing you can do, like no matter how much money you. So I started this idea 2 years ago, but I was in a full-time job, a mom of even younger boys. I would coach friends here and there when they reached out to me. I decided to, this past February, to kind of leave my job. I found the opportunity that it was just a time to go. And I hired a career coach because I did not know what to do with myself or what to do. And she encouraged me to pursue this business that I felt so deeply about. So that's how it happened. At first, I told her, I want to work on my resume again to go back into corporate. And she's like, what are you sure about that? It seems like you're really passionate and you have this whole business planned out. So why wouldn't you go for it? And I was like, well, I'm scared. And she goes, nope, we're gonna take a shot at this. So here we are.
That's very good. I like that, because as a coach, it's important that you unleash. I just wrote an article about unleashing the superpower and the potential. And sometimes even in difficult times, it's now the time that you should go forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What I'm actually curious about the name, Bagels and Brussels. Does that go together?
For me, it does, because everything in nutrition and in life needs to be a balance. And when I started this journey on health and wellness, bagels was one of my most favorite things. And it's usually one of the first things that people think that you need to get rid of. But it was just one of my non-negotiables. And then Brussels sprouts, I didn't enjoy them at all. And I had to try them over and over again. And eventually it became a staple vegetable for me. So yeah, just having the balance of bagels and Brussels and just having bee names, I felt like it was a good combination.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I know bagels is kind of like a comfort food too for me. Like if I...
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So now we got interrupted a little bit by the little guy. That's my other question. So you have your company, Bagels and Brussels, and the little guys, and your mom and your wife and everything, and working from home. What is your secret? How do you cope with everything?
My secret. I wish there was a secret. I feel like you need to carve time out and plan time out in a way for yourself to get your things done. Like, for example, now with the business and I'm actually back in school, I wake up super early before everybody else to make sure at least I have an hour or two to get what I need to get done, because now husband's working, thankfully. So I need to make sure that the kids are taken care of and not really interrupting him with his job. And I'm also homeschooling my 5-year-old in kindergarten. So once everybody wakes up and the day gets going, it's really hard for me to do anything that I need to do in terms of work and school. So I make sure I get that time in so I feel good by the time everybody else is up. And then in the nighttime, I'm just so tired. I don't have that much time or good focus and energy to do business work or school work. To get a workout in the afternoon when I can, at least once or twice a week, or weekend mornings. So it's it's like a Tetris game, that game where you try and see where all the blocks can fit together well. And some days it works, some days it doesn't. But you always try and carve out that time that you kind of know is going to work. And also set expectations with your family. Like, my children know that mommy works out once or twice a week, and so does my husband. So they all know to expect that. So I try and prepare everything so that they're set by the time I need to go do what I need to do.
Well, that's important, right? And how early do you get up then?
So I have my alarm for 6 a.m.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, I don't think I can do before that. I won't do well unless I'm going to sleep like super early. Yeah. Even 6 o'clock is a struggle, so a little bit, but I know I have to do it, because if not, then I'm going to be moping about it the rest of the day.
I mean, I see that all the time. It's about creating that routine, even though it might be a little difficult, but you can also start a routine on getting up, have your eyes half closed, and maybe get your first tea or coffee. And that's your wake up time. So I feel like you know when is the time. And then, so you said you go to school. How is that going? Obviously, everything is online, but how is that going with the family? And what is it? I'm curious.
Yeah, online. I mean, Institute for Integrative Nutrition. So I'm doing a 6-month accelerated program. Luckily, everything is online based and give you a certain amount of time to get things done. So it kind of works out for me because I don't know, I get to complete, they give you ample amount of time to complete things. So I get to do a big chunk of it in the mornings and then, yeah.
And since we got a little interrupted, I want to hear more about the bagels and Brussels. So what are your offerings and who is your target audience?
Target audience is women, mostly Hispanic and Latina women, but essentially women. I offer 3 different types of packages. The first one is a tu consultation, which is filling out a questionnaire that I have to get to know what you enjoy eating, because everything with me is you need to enjoy the food you're eating. If not, it's not going to work. What do you enjoy eating? What treats do you enjoy? And then having a deep dive as to how we can improve upon those things and give you a really guided, let's say, sort of manual for you to be able to apply easy and sustainable changes to the food you enjoy eating. And then I have 2 other packages. It's a 3-month package, which is a heart-to-heart package. And we do the same thing, the questionnaire from the tu, but then there's also support through the 3 months. And we have a photo food journal, weekly chats to review the foods you've been for that week. You have access to me on whenever you need me through text. I usually use WhatsApp. So through text, whether you don't know what to do, you don't know what to eat, you need help building out your barbecue now for the summertime, things like that. And then the 6-month is a engagement that I like to call it, because you're truly engaging for the long term to make this a sustainable change for you. Everything that's included in the past packages, but more intense, like maybe daily review of meals instead of weekly, and really giving you the power and authority to take charge of your food as you go week by week. And then through both of them, we learn, how to read a food label, how to read ingredients and whatever you're purchasing, encouragement to get some physical activity done, whatever that means for you, like whatever you enjoy doing. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I will encourage you to incorporate that into your daily life to help it become a habit. And then whatever else you need. Yeah.
And it's difficult to change habits, right? So for me, coming from Switzerland, chocolate is non-negotiable. So that has to be in my diet. I think it's also healthy if you get the good chocolate. But if you work around, I think it's possible. And I also think it's like, don't beat yourself up so much. But what I think is losing weight and changing habits is actually the hardest, because we cannot just simply not eat anymore. You have to fuel yourself, right? So it's like, okay, I want to change something. Don't change everything so drastically. I think that's also one of the aspects. Yeah. So I want to know what have you seen, or what kind of tips do you have for the listeners? And obviously we have all the information to connect with you in the show notes. So check in with Naihomy. But since we have you here,
awesome,
give us some secrets.
Yeah. So I have a few tips. I say one of the first things you need to do is acknowledge how you're feeling at what your emotions are at the time that maybe you're, aside from, your regular meals, if you're grabbing something to eat, maybe it's a cookie or ice cream or something like that, see what's going on with you. And is that really what you need? Like maybe you need something else. Maybe you need some fresh air. Maybe you need some water because you're dehydrated instead. So just checking in with yourself. I also say don't let others peer pressure you, including yourself, because I think that, your brain wants one thing, your body wants another thing, your soul wants something else. So sometimes what's right for you. You kind of pressure yourself into something else. Maybe it's the situation that you're in, or other family members or friends. They kind of pressure you into maybe eating things you don't want to do, or engaging in habits that you don't want. So just standing strong with others and yourself. With that, I also like the power of no thank you. Because especially in Hispanic culture, Latin culture, it's very giving. And a lot of love is shown through food, and everybody wants to give you things. And a lot of times you think it's rude to not accept it, but I feel like it's totally okay to just say no thank you. You might have your own personal reasons, and you might or might not have to get into it with your family and explaining why, but it's also a teaching moment, right? For them. Maybe they don't know. And I know for a fact that a lot of, older generations and my own do not know the effects of the food, right? So just saying no thank you, I think it's really polite and okay.
We can learn from you. No, thank you. And it's also hard, the pressure, right? The second point you said, like you might be in a social setting and then people are eating. And you're like, yeah, I shouldn't eat that cookie, but it's that pressure. So very important things that you told us here. So thank you so much. All the best to you, Naihomy. We want to hear from you. Good luck with your business. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
This podcast is being sponsored by Get Loopy. On episode 41, you can hear the story of Isabel, the co-founder and CEO. Get Loopy, get a 20% discount off your first order. GetLoopy.com. Great insights from Naihomy. Bagels and Brussels. What is non-negotiable for you? Leave a comment. Every Monday, every Wednesday, we have new episodes. Take it from the Ein Woman. Thank you for listening.